In every chapter of the 3 Rainmakers, I talk about supercharging your individual profile. And so, for instance, the Socialite. If you're a Socialite and you know lots of people, I want you out doing the thing that you're best at doing, which is socializing. And so what happens for a lot of agents is they get started in their business, they know a lot of people, and their business begins to grow, and they end up staying in their office and working on paperwork and not getting out and meeting new people. I mean, the Socialite is somebody that when you go to Walmart, you bump into 10 people that they know, and the 5-minute trip to Walmart becomes this hour-long conversation, almost like a reunion with all their friends. And instead of doing those things and meeting people, they're in an office doing paperwork. I talk a lot in this book about playing to your strengths. For instance, if you were dealt some cards and you can't get rid of them, one of the things I talk about a lot is, hey, take those cards and find a game that works really well with those cards, right? And so one thing about sales is it typically favors people who have lots of social networks and know lots of people. Run with that strength, run with it with everything you've got. Now, playing to your strengths really comes from a type of therapy that I used to do as a counselor. It was called solutions-focused counseling. And here's how that works. A lot of clients would come in and talk about all of their deficiencies, all the things they were lacking. With solutions-focused, one of the primary keys of that is to help them discover what are their strengths in life. Like, what are they doing well? Where are they successful? And instead of talking about all their deficiencies, let's talk about your strengths and let's develop those and let's start playing to your strengths. In fact, putting those on display, and you'll start having a high degree of success. It's a lot like when a teenager goes through this thing called niche picking. Now, if you're from up north, you may call this niche picking, but I kind of feel like a jerk when I say niche. And so I'm going to say niche picking. So niche picking is basically this idea that as we grow up, we typically do the things that we're getting applauded for or encouraged to do. And so I've got a son that took some drum lessons years ago, and he didn't really play in front of people. He was too shy, and then now he's a little more confident as a high schooler, and he gets his drums out the other day and got a group of people, and he starts to play, and he was really good. And everyone said, "My goodness, where'd this come from? You're amazing." Well, one of the things we did right when we got home is we put his drum set at home up, and he started playing again and getting music out. He was niche picking. He was taking something that was a strength for him and he'd been applauded for, and he was practicing it and putting time into it. So every person has certain strengths. Solutions-focused therapy or counseling is all about developing your strengths. And really that's what this book is about, developing your strengths. For each profile, not only do I talk about supercharging your strengths, but I also talk about challenges that you might face with that profile. And so, for instance, for the Socialite, one of the challenges that they might encounter, a Lego. Imagine a Lego. Now, how amazing that a company would have a brand, and now I'm talking about a building block or a brick, but because it's so synonymous with the company or brand, a Lego, I don't say just generic building block. Every Lego has pegs, or they actually call them studs. Let's say it has 6 little studs on it where you can connect other bricks. Once those bricks are connected with other bricks, it's full. It can't connect to any other bricks. And so for every Socialite, there's only a certain number of connections they can make unless they get a little help. And so a lot of times what happens for a Socialite is they have their friends, and maybe a few of their friends are looking at houses, and they're running around showing every house they can show and doing all of this and writing the contracts, and they just get worn out because there's only a certain number of pegs or connections that can go around. So for each challenge that I present, I also talk about ways to overcome that challenge. For the Socialite, and really for every profile, there's a way you can introduce this thing called leverage. Leverage is the ability to apply a small amount of force and get the maximum result. And so for the Socialite, if they're great at socializing, let them be the social part of the business and talk to people and encourage people and make the connections. Have somebody to help them run the paperwork, show the houses, do all of those things so that they can continue to build on to their little brick instead of feeling like they don't have any time or feel like they're shortchanging their friends. In each chapter, I also talk about just some general problem-solving strategies that you typically have with each profile. And so the Socialite, for instance, one of the things that they do when they encounter a problem is instead of getting frustrated, they immediately start calling friends. That's the way they've always solved problems. And so even getting this book ready, I wrote the book, and then getting it uploaded into Amazon and doing all of those things was kind of a frustrating thing for me. And so I called one of my friends that's great with design and technology, and I said, hey, will you help me upload this? And within a couple of days, it was uploaded and ready for sale on Kindle. When it came to shooting video, I called friends that said, hey, you're good at video, can you help me do this? The Socialite is very famous for having this phrase and using it a lot. Hey, I know a guy. I know a guy that can do this. I know a guy that can do that. And that's the way the Socialite always solves problems, bringing in their friend or their social network to help solve that problem. You can keep up with the 3 Rainmakers, learn how to supercharge your profile, and learn about other things through the Steadfast Realty social sites. You can buy this book on Amazon, either Kindle or paperback, whichever you like. Thanks for your time. I appreciate you watching.